Okay, we're finally going to get another video up. We had a house fire on December 4th. Our bathroom vent actually caught on fire. So we've been displaced for a while now and still are. Finally getting settled in here though and going to get another video put up. Alright, this one's going to be on the detailed disassembly of the 1911. This particular one happens to be a Rock Island Armory. It's a tactical model, so it's going to have ambidextrous safety. Most of them are going to be the exact same. I went ahead and took the liberty of taking off the grips. The only thing really to watch for in your grips, first thing you're going to do is safety check it, obviously. No magazine. Nothing in the chamber. The only thing you have to watch for in your grips, if you have wooden grips or anything, is you want to back off your screws a little bit at a time. Just do like your bottom one, a turn or so, and then the top one a turn or so, and then just back them out. It's just so it doesn't get bind or crack here if you have wood grips or whatever. You don't crack. Go ahead and leave your hammer cocked back. The first part of this is just going to be a field strip. So if you just want to field strip your 1911, you can just watch the first part of this video. We're just going to push down our recoil spring plunger. They actually make a 1911 tool. It makes this a lot easier. I can't find mine particularly though. So we're just going to push this down right here and move our barrel bushing clockwise. Push it down, move the barrel bearing clockwise, and then slowly let your barrel bushing out. Just don't let it go because it's going to fly out a lot of spring pressure. Take your guide spring plunger out. Take your recoil spring out, or your recoil spring plunger, I mean, out, not your guide spring. Next thing we're going to do is take our barrel bushing, move it all the way counterclockwise as far as it'll go, and just lift it straight out. Next we are going to line up the disassembly notch, I guess you call it. It's right behind, it's not the actually slide lock notch. It's the one that's behind it. It's just a little half moon. We're going to slide that until it lines up with this notch on our takedown lever. So, it's lined up right there. On the right side of your gun, you'll see the takedown lever, the pin. We're just going to push on that, and it should lift our takedown lever out and just pull it straight out. Then all you do is slide off the frame. Go ahead and take your recoil spring guide out. It's going to come out, take it out of the rear of the slide. And your barrel is just going to lift up out of its groove and then just slide it out the front of your slide. Make sure your barrel length is down. And that's your field strip. You don't have to go any farther if all you're going to do is field strip it. Alright, next thing we're going to do is tear down our slide the rest of the way. This is your firing pin block and your firing pin. We're just going to push down our firing pin and then slide down the firing pin block. Push firing pin down. Keep your finger over it and just slide off the firing pin block. Keep your finger over here so your firing pin doesn't fly out of there. It's under spring tension. Don't worry about how the parts go in. We'll get into detail on that when we reassemble it. Just pull your firing pin straight out and put your slide upside down and your firing pin spring should come out. All that's left on the slide is the extractor. There's no way this is coming out under both my fingers. I have to pry it out. I'm just going to take my punch and put it in this little groove right here and then pry it up. And just pull it out the rest of the way. And besides the sights, that is it for your slides, completely disassembled. Next we'll move on to the frame. If you let your hammer down, go ahead and cock your hammer back because our thumb safeties are not going to come out if the hammer's forward, so go ahead and cock it back now. Only thing you really have to watch for this is your plunger assembly right here. Make sure it doesn't fly out. A lot of them are kinked and they'll stay in there. The concept behind taking the thumb safeties out is right here is your thumb safety travel. You want it somewhere in between those stop points and you're just going to pull it out. And again on this Rock Island, I cannot do it by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'll pry it out. This is a plastic pampered chef thing. So I'm going to put that in there and then I'm going to move it back and forth while I pry it. And it pops right out. That's all you have to do if you don't have ambidextrous safeties. If you do, we'll go ahead and take our plunger out here. plunger spring assembly. It slides straight out. And ambidextrous safety, something like that. You can't pull it straight out, just make sure you lift it straight up in the air and then you pull it straight out. Next we'll go ahead and take our hammer off. Here's our hammer pin. We're going to take all our pins out. There's only 3 of them. We're going to take our pins out from right to left. First thing we'll do is go ahead and take our hammer pin out. We're just going to push it from the right side. We'll go ahead and decock this first. When you put your hammer down, don't let it slam forward on your frame. You don't have anything but the frame for that to hit, so you just lower it. It'll take tension off your hammer strut. Now we'll take our pin out from right to left. It should just slide right out. And our hammer and hammer strut assembly should come out. Try to keep these a little bit separate. Next thing we're going to do is we'll go ahead and take our mainspring housing out. Again, right to left. Take our punch and push the spring through maybe. Go ahead and hammer this out over here. It's a glass table in here, so I'm going to come over here. And there's our mainspring housing pin. Your mainspring housing is going to slide right out the bottom of your grip. Slide straight out. Take your grip safety off. Then take this is actually a sear spring. A lot of people call this a mainspring, I've noticed. Your mainspring is actually in this housing right here, in the mainspring housing. This is your sear spring. We're just going to take that straight out. Next we'll go ahead and take out our sear pin. Again, right to left. It should just, there's no tension on it. You should just be able to do it by hand. Put it came straight out. And then just dump it. Your disconnector and your sear should come out. All we have left is the trigger and the magazine release. You have to take the magazine release out before you do your trigger. Get your small screwdriver. This is going to go counterclockwise. A lot of the sweet spots on this, if you will, is your magazine release is about halfway. You have to push it, and you'll be able to turn that screw. On this particular one, I have to push it, the mag release all the way in before it comes out. A good way to do it is go ahead and put your screwdriver in, put a little counterclockwise pressure on the screw, and just start pushing your magazine release in from the other side, and it should just release, and there mine goes. And it's just going to slide straight out, and then just dump your trigger assembly out. It should slide straight out the back. That is it for the disassembly of the 1911.